A couple other things that you can do, let's look up here, is the min-max button. Let's just say that I want to measure amperage. I would take my current clamp, and certainly we've got to read the manual, make sure we know how to hook that up or where to hook that up to. Notice this goes across a fuse. And so again, one line at a time on the output side of your system. And so what you could do is, prior to taking that measurement, you would hit this button here, this max min, which captures minimum, captures maximum, and it captures average. Really, we use it for max, which would be starting amperage. We would clamp this on or around the wire, and then we would set the meter up, hit the max min, and then turn the pump on. Then we would be able to go back and see what the maximum was, which would be your starting amperage. And for a submersible pump, for an example, small residential submersible pump, it's going to be about 3 or 4 times your full load amperage. So if you did want to capture something like startup amps, you could do that with a meter like this if you have a min-max button. The other thing that we see here is range. I personally would recommend not using that. I think the beauty of a digital multimeter is it's auto ranging. It's going to find the right range. So if it's ohms, it's going to read ohms. If it's megohms, it's going to read m-ohms. Same thing with voltage, for an example. If it's millivolts, it will tell you millivolts. If it's volts, it will tell you volts. You can change that. I think it's best just to leave it, let the meter do what it needs to do. And when we do that, the most important thing I think about reading a digital meter is you start in the left and you read all the way over, including the units, because the units are critical. So for an example, if we're doing a line to ground test, there's a big difference between 10 ohms and 10 megohms. Meg is a million, right? And so what we tend to do is just look at the number. Well, I got 10. Well, it really doesn't tell us anything unless we know the units. So simply start from the left and read all the way to the right and make sure we know what the units are. And just leave it in auto range. The other thing here is test voltage, which we'll cover when we do our line to ground test.